In Shadowrun 5th edition, each time you use an addictive substance or engage in an addictive activity, there is the potential that you will become addicted and gain the addiction negative quality. So you better be familiar with the rules for addiction. The nail-biting event when addiction is determined is called the addiction test. The frequency at which addiction tests occur is dependent on the substance's addiction rating. Here's how it works. The first time that you engage in any particular addictive activity, the clock starts ticking. Consult the addiction table on page 414 of the SR5 Core Rulebook and determine the addiction rating of the substance or activity in question. While you're at it, you might as well take note of the addiction threshold of the drug as well. For a running example, we will use the drug Bliss, which has an addiction rating of 5 and an addiction threshold of 3. The first thing you do is to mark on your calendar when your addiction test takes place. This will happen in 11 minus your drug's addiction rating weeks. For our example drug, Bliss, this will be 11 minus 6, so we mark the calendar for 5 weeks from now. When it is time for the addiction test, the goal will be to get enough hits on the roll to meet or exceed the addiction threshold. Now, with a drug like Bliss, which has an addiction threshold of 3, you may think that it's very easy to become addicted, even if you use it only once. However, for every full week that you go without engaging in the addictive activity, your threshold will reduce by 1. On the other hand, every time you re-engage in the addictive activity before the addiction test, that threshold is reset to its original value from the addiction table. If you can go long enough without re-engaging in the addictive activity to reduce the threshold to 0 before your addiction test, then you're off the hook and the addiction test does not have to happen. However, some addictive substances, like nitro, have high enough addiction ratings and thresholds that it will never reach 0 before time for the addiction test. Once the day for the addiction test has arrived, we will make a roll to resist becoming addicted. The dice pool depends on the addictive nature of the activity. Some things are psychologically addictive, like Psyche and Zen. For these, your addiction test is made by rolling your logic plus willpower. For physiologically addictive drugs like deep weed or kamikaze, you must roll your body plus willpower. Some drugs like Bliss are both psychologically and physiologically addictive. In this case, you must make 2 separate addiction tests, and if you fail either of them, then you fail the entire addiction test. If you succeed on the addiction test and you meet the threshold, then congratulations, you're not addicted. You can go about your merry way until the next time you use the substance, at which time you'll start all over again. If you failed on the addiction test and you did not meet the threshold, then congratulations, you've gained yourself the addiction negative quality at the mild level. If you already had the addiction negative quality, then you get to increase your addiction level by 1 degree. This means mild addicts become moderately addicted, moderate addicts graduate to severe, and severe addicts become burnouts. If you were already at the burnout level of addiction for this particular activity and you failed your addiction test, well, things just got bad for you, as if they weren't already. You must permanently reduce your body or willpower, whichever is higher, by 1. If these attributes are equal, then lower body for physiologically addictive substances and willpower for psychologically addictive ones. If the attribute gets reduced to 0, then your character falls into a coma. The stun and physical condition monitors are both filled to the max, and your character begins taking overflow damage. Please consult the rules on exceeding the condition monitor on page 170 of the SR5 Core Rulebook. You might also consider taking a look at the character creation rules starting on page 62 of the same book. You're probably going to need it. While it requires a small amount of bookkeeping, you can see that the rules for addiction and addiction tests are actually quite simple. But nobody likes bookkeeping, so just say no, kids. Thanks for watching. Are there other topics on which you'd like me to do a video? Let me know in the comments. The next video will also be on the topic of addiction, and will deal with the rules concerning withdrawal and how to kick the habit. If you're interested in that video, then click the subscribe button and you'll get notified as soon as it comes out. And if you like this video, please feel free to click the like button. And thanks again for watching.